Whoa. Oh no! Oh God! Oh Jesus! What have I done? I destroyed the sound. I'll never forget. I lost my job. Help! I'm out on the street. I don't have any job. Oh please God, please don't let me.
Oh, thank God. The equipment works. Now I can relax. Have a glass of water. By the way, welcome to Comedy on the Edge. It's poison, I tell you. You ever see that? It's a Wonderful Life? It's poison, I tell you, Mr. Gower. It's poison. I love that movie, especially the part where Jimmy Stewart says, "Please, Mr. Gower, you're hurting my sore ear." I wish some rap band would like sample that, you know, like. Please, Mr. Gower. Please, Mr. Gower. Well, so much for all the fun and festivities. Hi, my name is Francis DiMenno. Now we're going to come to the boring part of the show. Yes, it's your low affect host who wanders off stage to make sure the camera angle is correct. I am an artist, a supreme intellectual, and not a mere comedian. I'm a filmmaker, a cinematographer, a poet, a playwright, an author. I do not descend to this arena of mob entertainment lightly. I do this because it is more than merely a vocation. It's actually a spiritual call. What the hell is it? Now, ooh. That's too bad, because I was hoping that this whole ceiling would collapse when I pulled this string. One time we had a rat fall out of the ceiling. Does that make you want to come up on stage? Hi, this is Comedy on the Edge, and today we're going to have what I like to call a symposium, but I won't because it implies Plato and a bunch of Greek people sitting buck naked in a cave and talking about the nature of reality. So let's just call it a gatherum omnium, or a panel discussion, if you will. Hi, I'm Lush Rambo, and today we're going to talk about whitewater. Whitewater. Why does it have to be whitewater? Everybody knows that per capita, Arkansas has the lowest rate of education, and the lowest rate of literacy, and the lowest rate of integration in the entire union, and this is where our president is from. Hi, I'm Lush Rambo, and I'm damn mad. You know why? Because I'm fat. That's why I'm fat. If I weren't fat, then maybe I'd be a liberal, but I'm not. And if I were skinny and a Republican, I'd be a survivalist. But I'm making money, so I buy into the status quo. Hi, I'm Lush Rambo. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm channeling here. Today's guests on Comedy on the Edge. Just one? You're not coming up? Why not? It would just be too crazy. Okay, well today's guest with a possible added guest will be Shawn Gauthier. So, yes, audience member. There's your cue from the letter A. Glass of water, please. And pour one for yourself, too. Good. Fucking A. Fucking H2O. Whoa. It's called the Widowmaker.
Never actually touched a microphone before, so.
You've never touched the microphone. Hey, the lights are flickering. It must be God. He's never touched the microphone. Jesus, let's have some light effects here. Okay, Lord. What thou will is thy will. Don't be afraid. It's not a snake.
Yeah.
Honest, it's not. Yes, it's like that. Yeah, it's like, oh man, this mic man is some good stuff, man. It's you gotta try this mic, man. It's really good. You get really good effects with it. So anyway, I've already talked too much, Shawn.
Should I agree?
Well, if you wish, look at this. They're breaking they're actually breaking down the roof, literally. You know? Hey, would you do me a favor? You want to do that on camera? No? I didn't think so. It's actually a Cherokee. They're masters of disguise. Can I have that chair, Joseph?
No, you can't.
Come on, I just want to sit in it for a minute. No? That'd be great, though.
Sure.
Okay. Have you seen the movie Forrest Gump?
I have seen Forrest Gump.
Would you care to describe it to us and give away the shock surprise ending?
He lives. Yes.
He lives. Tell me, should I just save my money and go see 4 episodes of Gomer Pyle USMC on television?
No, actually, Forrest Gump is a wonderful film. You really have to go see it.
Do you really love that Tom Hanks?
I do. He's great.
Because, you know, my boss at work says, I really don't like that Tom Hanks, you know? And I said, well, I really hate Alan Alda. You know, it's really bad. How would you like it if your name was so similar to that of an actor who a lot of people can't stand that everybody confused you with him? Like poor Alan Arkin. For years I've hated him thinking he was Alan Alda, you know, and it's too bad because he's not a bad guy. I mean, his performance in Freebie and the Bean, Academy Award material. You know what I'm saying? God, my head is full of detritus from early 70s movies. It's really too bad. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, you know, where Clint Eastwood and that unspeakable actor who has the thick, fleshy features and the white hair. I think you know who I mean.
Actually, the only memories I have from the early 70s would be trees and dirt, and that's about it. In the early 70s, I spent my entire life in the woods. My parents us to a very secluded area of woodland, Michigan, and so I was around no electricity, no phones, no television, no communication, no world, just trees and dirt.
Well, let me make you feel right at home. Well, I went to a high school where they wouldn't let you watch television. No, it was a boarding school, I should say. I mean, you know, high school. You can't watch television. If you watch it at home, we'll know, and you'll flunk. It was a boarding school. They let us watch 1 hour a week, and all we were allowed to watch were, you know, things that were on between 9 and 10 at night, 1 day a week. We couldn't decide on what we wanted to watch, so we voted, and in a committee, we decided that the least objectionable choice was Marcus Welby, M.D. So, I know where you're coming from. I didn't watch much television at all during the 70s. Once you get out of the habit, it's hard to take it up again. I mean, you know, what is it? It's just, what is television anyway? Mere television. Tawdry, flickering cathode ray beams. George, you said I was a bitter, frustrated old man. Yeah, do you watch much movies? Or anything like that?
I try to get in a movie or 2 a week, whatever I can afford, basically. A lot of times I go to the Comedy Connection, your competition here, I suppose, and I watch shows there.
We're going to get those bastards. So let's talk a little bit about the Comedy Connection. What kind of stuff goes on there? What's going on?
There's a friend of mine over there.
I know him.
Would you?
Are you
come on
like
in.
on the radio right now?
We're on the television.
Come on up.
Come on up.
No, that crazy thing that goes on TV.
You're already on. You're already on. You're looking at Jackie.
No.
Jackie, we've already seen the back of your
It
head.
freaks me out.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Because it's scary.
What are you doing here? What am I doing here?
I work here.
I don't. I guess I am now.
Yeah. The water is free because you're an employee now.
I'll see you later.
What are you doing?
Wonderful.
I work, I do security and tickets and that stuff.
Wow. How long have you been here?
Since like February.
February. Do you like it?
I love
Do
it.
they treat you well?
They treat me awesomely.
How about Francis here? Do you and he get along?
I don't know him.
Jackie?
Jackie, this
now you know that I actually work here.
Oh, I've always known you worked here.
Yeah, but you know, you've always seen me go into the kitchen and eat food, and what's this guy do here anyway? Is he the professional taster for the king, or what, you know? But no, actually, yes, this is my gig, man. Hey, man, don't fuck with my axe, man. Like, get your hands off that guitar, man. It's a genuine Stratocaster. Jimi Hendrix used it, and Eric Clapton touched it once, man. You know?
Jackie, what have you been doing this summer?
Working, and
What?
working.
Do you get a lot of perks working here? I mean, are you gonna see the Boston's tonight? Are you gonna?
No, I've had enough for the Boston. That's a lifetime.
Well,
I'm
that's
working the show
also,
tomorrow,
that's
though.
good. That's a good thing to be able to say.
Hey, Jackie, what about their fans? Why is it that there's no ugly women or overweight women, and that virtually all the guys that go to Boston shows are beefy Aryans with, you know, fuck me or die tattooed on their chests? I mean, what is it with the Boston's fans?
I don't know. I'm not one of them. So I couldn't tell you.
Well, I feel like a 90-year-old looking at the Grateful Dead fans, you know, or something. I just don't understand. What's the rationale? Drink lots of alcohol and bellow at the top of your voice at 3 in the morning. Is that fun? Is that what your kids do today? I feel so aged.
No.
What are you doing in the fall, Jackie?
Going back to school, Sean.
Emerson?
Yeah.
And where are you living? I mean, you don't have to say it.
Actually, I'm moving in with Jen Kirkman and Alicia.
Really? In an apartment or?
Yep, in Beacon Hill.
Beacon Hill?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, because I'll be at 6 Arlington, so.
Oh.
I'll know where to find you.
You can all find me at 6 Arlington.
Still a swollen monkey?
I am still a Sullen Monkey.
Yeah.
Emerson College's improv troupe and sketch comedy stutterers, yes. And so are you saving your money here to go to Emerson, or what are you doing here?
No, actually, I have a scholarship, so I don't have to worry about it. Thank
I
God.
remember you used to be very worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been talking with any Emersonians over this summer?
Just Jen and Alicia.
Oh, well,
That's about it.
Do you study Emerson at Emerson?
Yes, I do.
That's great, you know, because I always wondered about that. It's like, you graduated from Emerson and you don't know anything he ever said?
actually, we're named after Charles Wesley Emerson.
Oh,
Not Ralph Waldo.
smack. Well, foolish me. If I'd known that, I wouldn't ask such an ignorant question. Well, I wish I could quote something that Emerson actually said, but I can't think of anything right now.
I have to go back up to the office,
See you later.
do some work.
Nice of you to drop by.
See you later.
Well, listen, next week, Jackie, tell them up at the office to take a break and come down here and be the audience for this show.
I'm the only staff here on Saturdays. So.
Oh, okay. Well, don't be a stranger. See you later,
See you
Jackie.
later.
See you, Jackie.
That was Jackie who works at the Middle East. Someday we'll have every single staff member come up here. So tell me about the Comedy Connection, Sean.
Well, I'm an intern at the Comedy Connection. I work in their advertising department, and it's a lot of fun there. Nice people, great acts come through there, big national acts. Last night, I mean, I don't want to sit here plugging away my job.
That's all right. Tell me who the big national act was. Pee Wee Herman?
Well, no, not Pee Wee Herman. Last night we had Kathy Ladman. She's a wonderful comedian.
She often appears on A&E's, not at the Improv.
Yes, she does. She's a big star there. So.
Does Bob Hope hang from a meat hook? Is that part of the performance arts segment?
No, I believe Bob Hope was in the Middle East
And he got his leg blown off, and now they call him Bob Hop.
It's a different
No.
Middle East, I suppose.
That Middle East. Oh, yeah, right. Bob Hope, live in the Middle East.
So you can have that claim to fame.
Wow. Yeah, I shook hands with Bob Hope, and I never washed that hand, because I'm from India anyway. And no, I'm not from India.
My dad used to live in India, as a matter of fact.
That's wonderful.
For 3 years, he was a member of the Peace Corps.
So you're a baby buster.
Baby Buster, yes, I suppose.
If you want to be referred to as part of a demographic cohort instead of related to as an individual human being,
Yeah. That's fine. Whatever.
the Comedy Connection. I've never actually been there. Where is it?
The Comedy Connection's in Faneuil Hall in Quincy Marketplace. And
I have tickets for Wednesday night. Check out.
yes. go. They have great midweek shows, and it's only $6 to get in, which is cheaper than a movie on a night. And just in the middle of the week, they have some great local comedians that are funny.
Oh, as opposed to the great ones that aren't funny.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, hold on a second because I got a special surprise now. It's hammer time, and we'll talk about this hammer. Nice heft. It's got one of those grip edges with the holes in them, you know, so like airflow. So like you're Thor and you're like trying to make the lightning strike, you throw it. It's aerodynamically designed to go in a straight line because it's got these little air holes.
See, it's got some tape on the bottom there too, holding it together.
Yeah, that's duct tape. You see, if you're like working on electrical equipment, you want the duct tape so that you can feel as though you're grounded even if you aren't. And it's got a nice claw that you can mutilate the club furniture with if you get frustrated because they haven't paid you in over 5 months. And, well, it's a nice hammer. It's kind of worn. Faithful old friend. It sort of looks like a Cocker Spaniel. You know, the ears flowing back and the snub nose. And, I don't know. It's a nice hammer. I'd give it a name. I give a name to all my silverware. I call my knife Little Sharpie. And then there's Big Sharpie and Sawtooth.
I have names for my spoons. Actually, Prince Charles, and also Richard Nixon. And I have a spoon named Jimmy Carter and one named Joe Ford. And actually, it's because their pictures are on the spoons. They're all commemorative spoons. So, I eat with company whenever I eat with those spoons.
Well, I have a cup with all the presidents up to Lyndon Johnson on it, but Johnson's face has been slightly obliterated, as though attacked by a vindictive person with long fingernails. Like, take that! I know what you did to Vietnam. Yeah. But yeah, it's the president's cup, and nobody else is allowed to drink out of it. And every once in a while, I slap on "Hail to the Chief" and drink something presidential out of it. It's a very Buddhist thing to name material objects. Although some people name their cars, which isn't really that kind of spiritual at all. And some people even name their bicycles, which is kind of odd. I'm going to buy a car called Little Stinky. Just think of the dignified appearance I'll make at all the fancy soirees. Here I am pulling in front of Spagos and Little Stinky. Where should I park, Little Stinky, sir? Leave it out in front where everybody can see it. You know, park it so that the busted left side front light is clearly visible to the distinguished patrons. How'd you get here, Shawn?
I walked here today.
From where?
From over in Kenmore Square.
Isn't it relaxing to walk?
It's a wonderful day outside. It's very bright out today.
Do you let your body jangle and let the juices flow? Or are you one of those people that like power walks, you know?
No, I was more of a meander to get here. Actually, took our time.
Was it worth it?
Well, since it didn't cost anything, I guess it was, I got my money's out of it. It's worth that.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. That's very unprofessional, man. I can't believe you did that, man. Well, I shouldn't ask where you live, but in what neighborhood do you live?
I live in Kenmore Square, sort of quality mart area, the cusp of Kenmore, sort of.
Oh yeah, I know where that. You mean where the street forks? No.
I live very close to Mass Ave.
Yeah. I know that. I know that place. Can you tell me something about Emerson?
Yeah, Emerson. I love Emerson. I love college. It's a great school. I'm there for advertising.
How do you get there? Is there at Ruggles?
What's that?
Is there at Ruggles Station? on the subway?
No, it's scattered all throughout Boston. We have offices closest probably to the Boylston stop. We have some offices also on Beacon Street. We have a lot of offices, and all the classes are, if you want to call them a class rather than an office, since we're not working yet, I suppose we are students still. But I like to call my classroom an office. That way I feel like I'm working.
Well, you are working.
Yeah, I am working. I'm working and I deserve to have an office.
People see you reading on the subway, or they see you reading. They say, what are you, a student? Like, the only people who read are students.
I know.
It's maddening. I was 24 years old at a flea market in Pittsburgh. What are you, a student? I was going to buy the Oxford English Dictionary, but I didn't because I didn't have any way of getting it back here.
Now they're saying this as if it's a bad thing to be a student?
Kind of, yeah. It's like, why aren't you working in the still mills like your grandfather? Why aren't you drinking Boilermakers and pissing away your mortgage money in a low bar, you know? It's like, geez, I don't know. I guess, you know, been there, done that. Why aren't you drinking Diet Mountain Dew? You know,
and
bragging about your muscles.
And the gentleman that said this to you, he had passed through the education stage and went right to success?
No, he had passed through the dropout stage and gone straight to
Cutting down students.
blue collardom. Well, you know, I'm from a blue collar background, and it's kind of, you know, odd that education is held in such a low regard. On the one hand, they're right. I mean, who are all these pompous, educated individuals, elitists, to tell us that we're not educated? And on the other hand, they're wrong, because who are all these blue-collar people who, you know, eat, fuck, die, you know? I mean, there's more to life than that, so I can see both sides of it, but it's just irritating when people have expectations of you and then they try to fit you into some little box. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Hardly the most controversial topic in the world.
It's bad when people are mean to you.
Yes.
I'm out on a ledge here, I know.
I don't like it either. Well, we're about out of water. And I think that means that what we'll do is, I'll get back up here for a minute, make some shtick. This is postmodern comedy. I actually discuss what I'm going to do before I do it, and then as I'm doing it, I'm also discussing it. So we'll see you in just a couple of minutes, Shawn. We'll bring you back up here for your solo turn. Ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Gauthier. And now, how about you, Dina?
About me what?
You're not coming up, are you?
No, I'm not coming out.
Aww.
I'll come up next week.
Oh, okay. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, we learn a lot from being children. Because, you know, you ever notice how people just turn this kid thing on and off? I guess the younger you are, the more you're able to do it. But, you know, being a sulking child can be very handy sometimes. It's like, you're waiting in line for the commuter rail, and it's getting closer and closer to the time that the train's going to leave, and you start going, you're in this long line, and you start going, when you're 37 years old, you know, people say, well, what's going on? I gotta catch the train. Oh, go on in front of me. You know, like, oh, if you're gonna be that childish about it, you stupid son of a, like, just get right in. You know, I don't care. I got a train to catch too. The whole world's got a train to catch. Who are you, Mr. Privileged One? Oh, by the way, this episode of Comedy on the Edges is brought to us by our sponsors,
One of those special smiles.
hardly endorsed by Mr. Mixias-Pitalik. And this is great. I kind of like this. I mean, it's beer, you know, and beer is wicked, but as we all know, I don't know why they ever decided to repeal the ban against beer. I mean, sure, it's a great social lubricant and all that, but I like these colors. I don't know. The green for the forests, the blue for the sky, and the yellow for the yellow streak down my neck. Well, we managed to fix the camera, and the top of my head was like cut off and in the camera range, so I've adjusted the camera so that you will not be faced with the same obstacle. Because yes, it's time to bring on the amiable, conscientious, and I think in his way, not that I presume to speak for him, very wise Shawn Gauthier.
Thanks. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Well, here we are at the Middle East Cafe. Yum. All the good food here. Yeah, another big food thing these days in shopping malls would be the food court. I mean, you've got this whole area with 20 different restaurants, and you have to decide, am I hungry for a burger and fries from the burger place, or fries and a burger from the did that joke wrong. Alright, my comedy debut first joke was ruined. Alright, so we're gonna move on. Alright, so do I want fries and a burger from the burger place, or burger and fries from the fry place? And then where do you get the ketchup? From the relish place, I suppose. Okay, but you're in a food court. Now, you have to ask yourself, what exactly does food go to court for? I'm sorry, Mr. Cheeseburger, you've been arrested for impersonating beef and falsifying cheese. How do you plead? Not greasy. And of course you have a whole bunch of burgers being interrogated under the heat lamps. Alright, we're gonna go over this one more time. Where were you on the night of October 23rd, 1982? I was right here. You can ask the French fries. And of course, you walk out of food court and there's Doug Llewellyn waiting for you. Do you feel as if justice was served? Well, I'm just happy the burger was put away. And out on the courthouse stairs, we have a crowd of people gathered. They are carrying their signs. They're screaming, "Free the Hamburglar!" Yes, there's only one man who actually has the power to issue a full pardon, and they're waiting for his arrival. That would be Mayor McCheese. And, well, you just never feel well after eating fast food, and it's like people say, I'm hungry, but I'd rather be bloated. And the thing is, myself, I don't really know how I feel. I've been struggling with my emotions, trying to get more in touch with my feelings. I bought a journal. That didn't help. I couldn't even read the guy's handwriting. I needed to get professional help. I needed to put some hard cash down and get the kind of help that can read how I feel deep down. So what I did, I bought this mood ring, and I didn't wear it at first. To tell you the truth, I didn't wear it. I didn't want to pierce my mood. I was afraid it would hurt, my feelings. But I finally did end up wearing it. I put it on my pinky, and it instantly turned green. Not the ring, my finger. And basically what that means is I'm cheap. But the mood ring is a dangerous thing. You gotta be careful, because you put it on backwards, and you're wearing a doom ring. And how safe is that? Not very, I'll tell you. There is a plane exploded mid-flight this Tuesday. The accident is being blamed on the careless inversion of a mood ring. Yes, very dangerous. But, that's not the only thing I have against these things. I just don't know if I like the idea of a mineral being more in touch with my emotions than I am. Of course, it's all based on temperature, and so when I want to make sure I have a good day, I stick my hand on the stove, that's for sure. You know, if you want to outsmart a rock, you've got to think like a rock. The rock itself is very interesting. There's an interesting story behind it. It's actually mined in a small city in India. And as the miners are digging up the mood ring stone, it actually can detect how they are feeling, and it changes color right on their shovels. So the co-workers at these big mines really get to know each other. Say, Bob, that's quite a blue shovel you got there. Congratulations on the raise. Well, thanks, Pete. Say, did your wife leave you yesterday? Yeah. Why? Is my shovel that yellow? No, I slept with her last night. But, mood ring's a weird invention, and there's a lot of weird things out there. Like, you just have to wonder, where did they come from? I was in this airplane. I was sitting in the window seat, 30,000 feet above America. I had this breathtaking view of the wing. And about 20 feet out, there's this sticker on the edge of the wing, and it says, "Not a step." Duh. Who's the idiot? Who's the idiot that needs this sticker? Who's the idiot that thinks the airplane has a basement? I mean, who's the idiot that is like, let's see, I think the bathroom is around, maybe it's down these stairs. Yeah, does this guy have a sticker on his blender that says no diving? And more so, who's the genius that came up with this? The sticker that says not a step. You can basically put this anywhere. You could put it on your cat. You could put it on your pajamas. You could put it on a step as a joke. And the idiot comes along. Whoa, not falling for that one again. Where the hell's the bathroom? Yes, and so that would be my stint for the day. My name is Shawn, and have a nice evening.
Well, you're not clapping?
I did.
Oh, you did? Here's Steve Iskovitz's clap. That's enough. All right. There, I put myself out. No, you forget. Well,
one non-performing audience member to make fun of.
No, there's two.
There's
two, see. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just holding this hammer up in a semi-menacingly, wow, this hammer, it's really corroded. What would happen if, no. Do you think I could smash this thing with, no. With this glass? No.
For what?
It's tough, you know, because earlier I was, Bill, Shawn, Bill, whatever your name is, that was wonderful, great, one of the best we've had here, which, you know, last person we had here was Charlie Manson. He sort of talked a little bit about the history of the X on his forehead, but no, that was, you know, let's hear it again for, yeah. Shawn Gauthier, and we certainly hope we can get him back. Disco. Get him back here at some point.
I'm sure he's impressed by the huge audience.
And the highly professional attire and demeanor of the MC. Don't forget. Well, now I'm going to sort of more or less close off this section of the show and begin the other section. But before I do, my fiance, you know, she does this little childish thing every now and then, acting like a kid in order to get her way. It's like, would you like me to buy you some ice cream? And she says, no, I don't want that. It's so charming, you know. Sometimes I love her so much, especially when I'm doing her laundry, and I see one of her little socks, and it's like, oh. Of course, it's pink from my t-shirt, but still, you know, oh, isn't that nice? So, my name is Francis DiMenno. Our guest for today was Shawn Gauthier, and this section of, or segment of, or portion of Comedy on the Edge has concluded, but we'll be back with more momentarily.
Oh, this stuff, no, wait a minute.
Hey,
Yes, there is something that any out-of-towner should know about Boston. They have primary sewage treatment, but they don't have secondary sewage treatment, which means you might get some of the lumps. But at the Middle East, which is of course where we are here at Comedy on the Edge, we have a filtration system which goes down to 3 microns. Now, a micron, for those of you who don't know, is 0.00376 of an inch. So just multiply that by 3 and you got it there. But you know what?
Chlorine.
It's got 50 milligrams of chlorine per 50 parts per million. That's not bad.
But you can taste it.
Now your average swimming pool might have like 20 times that much, right? You ever drink the water in a swimming pool?
I don't drink
I'm thirsty. Don't want to go to the concession stand.
I don't drink it, I only piss in it.
Right, right.
Are we on?
Man, oh man. That's what they blame people
Oh,
for.
we're on.
Yeah, we're on.
Hi, Mommy.
So you're on, you know? And when you're on, you're on. And when you're not, forget it. That's the thing, you know, every single week we do this. And some weeks, you know, it's like incredibly good. I mean, you know, it's like I can tear my arm off and, you know, get the big laughs. And other weeks, there's nobody here. Like this week, we got a thrash show downstairs. And it's like, thrash reduces everything to like a reductio ad absurdum. Like, you can take any lyric and turn it into a thrash lyric, you know, like, fucking, down in New Orleans, fucking, you know, or, is it true what they say about Dixie? Does the sun really shine all the time? You know, it's like, up in your face type humor, you know, it's like, the sweet magnolias blossom around every neighbor's door. You know, that kind of deal. So it's, I got the microphone wet. It's like, hey, you can see my skeleton. That's a cool way to do a CAT scan. Just stick your toaster in the bathroom. We'll do the CAT scan that way. We'll take a picture of your body. You know, be cool. I'd like it. I'm not sure, I don't know enough about these electronics, you know. I'm in the Flintstones era when it comes to electronics. So I don't know whether this is going to have a detrimental effect. Hey, it sounds pretty good. One time I saw Neil Young playing a harmonica at concert while playing the piano simultaneously. He was playing one tune on the piano and another one on the harmonica. You know what he did? He dipped the harmonica in a glass of water to get that liquid tone. Really cool. Of course, when you're as rich as him, you can like you can ruin your harmonica like that, you know, with impunity. That's the thing about Neil Young that really turned me off to him. I saw his Rust Never Sleeps tour. And number one, he had these roadies dressed up as trolls or something. And it's like, how stupid does he think we are? This is just Star Wars. What the, you know, what's going on? And the other thing was, you know, his new album came out right afterwards, and I thought, oh boy, you know, my, hey, hey. But no, it was like, 4 strong winds, 4 strong winds. You know, it wasn't the same material he was doing in concert. So I had to wait a couple of months to get the real goods. Hey, come on in. What's your name? Are you here for the comedy show? You're here for the reggae jam. Want to do a reggae song for us? Let's see, how many do I know? 3. No Woman, No Cry. I Shot the Sheriff, and, you know, the reggae version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. Can't leave that out now, can we? Now, that's the thing with reggae, you know. Any song can be a reggae song. All you gotta do is, like, have this sort of air of mindless optimism and cheer, and all of a sudden it's a reggae song. You know, it's like, him fucked up Ronnie, Reagan, yeah, him fucked up Ronnie, you know. Like anything at all, and it's a reggae song, boom, like that. I got the Star Spangled Banner in reggae. I do a version of it. It's like, that flag, what him gonna do? What him gonna do when him shoot at you? You know, flag on the flagpole, and him a metal flagpole. You know, I love that when they go, Big Youth, he's one of my personal heroes, you know. It's like, I don't understand half of what he's saying. The other half, I'm not sure I particularly agree with or like, but still, you gotta admit, this man is talented. He's like one of the prototypical reggae toasters, first of all. I mean, so he started out, you know, He started a whole genre by himself. You gotta respect him for that. Just like Prince. Prince has changed his name back to Prince. I wonder if he's aware that in New England, Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day. Yeah, okay. Well, I think Bruce Springsteen. Whatever happened to him? It's like, can you do the sound of a toilet flushing? It's like his career. I mean, he just disappeared from view. What's he gonna do? Go into movies? Wouldn't it be cool if he did like really lousy movies like Elvis did? You know, like totally miscast. Plays a crusading priest, you know, a Quaker who is willing to fight when the situation demands it, or something like that. You know, it's like get your hand off that gun, you know, that kind of deal. Well, anyway, what's that? You want to get up here? Oh, okay. Well, great. We have quite an unexpected treat for us here today with Mr. Phil Berliner. So, come on, slap your knee hooks together. Let's hear it from Phil Berliner.
I love myself unconditionally. Unfortunately, it's unrequited. Thank you. Good night.
Well, I did a production of Your Arms Are Too Short to Box with God, starring a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He wrecked the place on opening night. You know, it was like, you know, it's like, help me, help me. Now my impression of The Fly in The Fly. Help me. Hey, it's Steve. It's battling Steve Iskovitz. Steve, did you want to come up here and talk? No? Feeling kind of glum? Why so glum, chum? Just make a funny face in the mirror. Geez, yeah, making Steve laugh is going to be hard. Real hard. See, we're up. So long, Steve. See you later. That's the kitchen, Steve. Well, I'll tell you, man, guy's hard to please, especially when you're his roommate, you know. It's like, all of a sudden, don't make a spectacle of me. Oh no, you're back. Okay, that's cool. Well, we're going to bring on the real talent now. All the way from Houston, Texas, making his Middle East debut, Mr. Tony Wycoff.
Hello? I'm Tony Wycoff. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm coming up here. I've done shows in Houston. And it's interesting being in Boston. Boston is kind of different from Houston. Let's take for instance crime. I watched the news the other day, and it said elderly woman was killed at her home. So I'm saying she was shot in the head. And I'm saying that's all. In Houston, they shoot you, they rape you, they strangle you, and they stab you, and then they make sure you're dead. I guess that's their way of saying, well, we're going to make sure you're really dead. We're going to make sure you're really dead, so you can't come back and testify against us. We're going to that's their way of making the police work a little harder. I'm sitting there wondering, also I see where a teenage boy is shot in a drive-by, 19 years old. I'm looking at that, they say, young man killed in a drive-by incident. And I'm saying to myself, he was by himself. In Houston, they just shoot everybody. Uncle, cousin, friends, the little babies. Everybody is shot in Houston. And it's like, the crime has gotten out of hand in Houston so much, where the police, when they stop you, they pull you over, and they go, doop, doop. They shoot you first, and ask you, can I see your license? No, you shot me. Well, don't worry, it's only a flesh wound. But I'm here in Boston. The other thing about Boston, unlike Houston, is that in Houston, it's a lot of African Americans there. I got back to Houston, I did a comedy club, and I walk out and I say, boy, there's more African Americans and more brothers here than an old Superfly movie. That kind of reminds me of Black TV reunion. I had Weezy from the Jeffersons on the front row before her breast got too big. Then in the back we had Jimmy Walker from Good Times, who is still anorexic. And then I'm sitting there wondering what would happen to TV, the TV show Good Times, if Walona from Good Times didn't sing the theme from the Jeffersons. So I wonder what would have happened if they would have asked maybe, say Frank Sinatra to come up to Frank, we got a new TV show called The Jeffersons. We want you to sing the song. Frank said, sure, baby. Give me some music. He sits there. Moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment. Come on now, in the sky. Well, moving on up to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. Fish, egg. They don't fry in the kitchen, do they, baby? No, they don't. Beans, they don't burn on the grill. Yes, took a whole lot of trying. Play with me now, baby. Just to get up that hill. Hey, but now that we did, it's you and me, baby. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, that's my impression of Frank Sinatra singing the theme from the Jeffersons. I know, I'm sitting here, I know you're all sitting here saying, this is a guy who's standing up here on stage in front of 4 people. I know.
More than last week, you wasn't anyone here last week.
So I'm privileged. I take it that you all are regulars. Well, I like it. You know, Boston and Houston has the same little flavor going on. I've never played in a venue like this. I'm thumbing through the yellow pages, so I'm trying to take advantage of every comic opportunity that I can get to get on stage. So I'm thumbing through, and I see I'm going to go out to every place that has an open mic. So I see the Middle East. So I'm sitting there wondering, what the hell do I do while I'm up on stage in a restaurant? So one of my routines that's pretty popular back in Houston. I didn't plan on doing this, but one of the routines talking about realism in TV. If there was realism in TV, you remember like the old Batman TV shows? If there was realism in TV, Batman would get that call from Commissioner Gordon. Batman, we have a nuclear bomb detonated in Gotham City. 15 minutes. Can you make it? Sure, Commissioner. We're on our way. And he looks at Robin, and you know, he always says, let's go, Dick. And really, if there was realism in TV, at that moment he called Dick to come with him, Aunt Harriet would walk in and catch him, and she would run up and say, oh, Bruce, how dare you use such language? And Alfred would jump in, well, it is his dick. And Robin would say, well, who's Dick? And Bruce Wayne would look down at Robin and say, my dick? And he says, okay, Aunt Harriet, you win, Aunt Harriet. Let's go, Richard. And Aunt Harriet sits there, oh, Dick. And they would slide down the bat pole, and they would get into their cars. And then before they get in, you know, Batman had to check all his equipment, because Batman and Robin had every piece of equipment in the world. Batman, they would check them all. Bat purilators, check. Bat nuclear detonator, check. Bat utility belts, check. So that was realism in TV. Batman and Robin would get into the Batmobile and it wouldn't start. That's realism. The Batmobile won't start. So he has to call Alfred. He asks Alfred to come back. Alfred, you get one of the cars, bring it, give me a jump. And turns out Batman has no jumping cables. The man has every piece of equipment in the world, but he has no jumping cables. There, I'm thinking, Wonder Woman. Wouldn't Wonder Woman be gorgeous? She is gorgeous. But with realism, Wonder Woman would be kind of anorexic. Look looking like Jimmy Walker from Good Times. And every time she turned around, you get turned to Wonder Woman. She get dizzy and fall down. That's realism. Spider-Man will climb the hell out of the wall. He'll be afraid of the shoe. That's real. That's real. That's real. But this has been nice to get up here. This is somewhat of my first performance in the state of Massachusetts. It's pretty impromptu. So on that note, I'm going to be leaving you all and peace out to Brooklyn, even though I'm from Houston. Thank you. He comes again.
Just call me
Yes.
Well, Tony, I know what it's like to come from a town that isn't perhaps on the lips of everybody in Boston, because I am from Fort Worth. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, like I'm from Fort Worth. Sure you are. Well, I'm from Pittsburgh, and we used to have this late night science fiction TV show, bad movie host called Chili Billy Cardilli. And he'd get up there and he'd do his lame shtick, you know. Nobody cared. It was like, what, 1 a.m. or something? It's like, who's watching? Kids and drunks. It was like, come on there, Chili Billy, yeah, that's right, you tell him there. Sort of thing. But, a formative experience, because I actually met Chili Billy Cardilli. He was at the Northway Mall, and they had this gigantic swimming pool full of trout that were half dead, and you were supposed to catch them with pieces of corn. And he looked incredibly unhappy. Like he didn't want to be doing a mall opening. It's like the last thing in the world he wanted to do. And I realized, geez, you know, these guys aren't always on when they're on stage. When they're off stage. That's passive aggressiveness, Steve. Walking around during my set, blocking the camera. Will you stop that, please?
Slamming doors in the tower?
Well, I wasn't slamming the door, I was closing the door. I was burdened down with equipment, something you'll never know about since you'll never really have equipment or anything else. So anyway, that's Comedy on the Edge for this week, and we'll be back with more next week.
Francis, I decided that every time you slam the door, I'm gonna reduce my rent $10.
Oh yeah? Why is there so much hate in the world? Hi. I'm Francis DiMenno, and this is Comedy on the Edge. How is it that we can send a man to the moon, but we can't eliminate world hunger and poverty and disease and filth and stupid people standing in line? And if there's a lot of hate in the world, then how come I'm not making any money on them? Well, we have someone all the way down here from Houston, Texas, although properly speaking, we ought to say he's all the way up here since Houston is south and west of here. Isn't it? Isn't it?
South and west.
Okay, cool. So it's sort of bang a right at Cuba and just keep going until you hit the Gulf. Yes. Do you know any Spanish, by the way? I only know one phrase in Spanish, and that is empleados, laven los manos, por favor. It's in the bathroom here. It means employees, please wash your hands. I think I'd have a whale of a time going to Mexico with that phrase, you know. The border guard stops me. Can I see your papers? Empleados, laven los manos, por favor. You know, oh, and I know another one. En los toros, porquito puerco. That's all now, folks. Porky pig. And that would also go over well with the border guards, I think. Well, another country you heard from. Are you the mysterious guest?
No.
Oh, are you a walk-in?
He's her husband.
Go.
I've heard of John, but I've been here all along.
Oh, you have?
No mysterious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you sort of look like peas from the same pod. Here, here's a C note. Go out and buy yourself some nice clothes. I like to see my boys looking sharp, see? Now we're gonna pull the bank job. Baby Huey, I want you to stand in front of the bank and go, duh, and distract people. 88 keys, I want you to stay at home and play the piano so that the nosy bulls come snooping around. They think I'm there playing the piano. Aircraft carrier forehand, I want you to sit in the parked car in case anybody comes along and asks you to move it. You just stick your giant head out the window and fire away. Now, Samson, Atlas, Hercules, I want you to lift the bank. And I'm going to crawl underneath and get all the pennies that fell out from the teller's cages over the years. Some of them will be 1909 BSCP pennies worth a small fortune on the collector's market and in mint condition. Now, oh, and one other thing, don't call me Scarface. My name is Scarface, okay? Scarf with an F, alright? Just see that you remember that. Now, I know that even though this is 1994, we're still 1930s gangsters, so we're carrying around a bunch of archaic weapons with rusted firing pins. Couldn't hurt a fly. But in case any of your boys get caught, here's what I want you to do. The cyanide capsules in the back of your back molars, spit them out. Who cares? These days, back is better than actually having jail's better than actually having a earn a living. Anyway, speaking of earning a living, we have a guest come all the way up here from Houston, Texas. I got it right this time. Mr. Tony Wycoff.
Good afternoon, how you all doing? How you doing? My name is Tony Wycoff and I am from Houston, Texas. What I'm doing today, I'm going to do my routine for you all because I will be performing at Dick Darty's Comedy Shop tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So, hope you all come out, check me out a little bit, do a little something. But we'll get started. Tell you about when I first started doing comedy, when I first started doing stand-up, I would get nervous. So I would start using rationale. Ever use rationale that didn't work? So I would say to myself, man, you're gonna get on that stage and you wanna freeze. So I would start thinking, say, hey, there's nothing to fear. We're human beings. We're all human. We all bleed. I said, no, that's a problem. Because some of us bleed more than others, especially during certain times of the month. And if it's that time of the month, those people are going to be pissed. So that doesn't work. Then I start thinking, I said, well, we all pass gas while we're driving in our cars. And we have to get that little lean so you can let it out. And depending on which way the windows roll, depends on which way you lean. So if the windows roll down, you lean this way. So it can go out and stay there so somebody else can come by and smell it. That's the thing. Everybody always wants someone else to smell the gas. My question is, what makes you think I want to smell something of yours when I don't even want to smell my own? So I'm still thinking. So then I'm saying, what happens if the window is rolled up? So if the window is rolled up, I have to lean this way so the air conditioner can attack it or something, so it can saturate it a little bit, so you can deal with it a little more. And even what's worse is like when you're on that date with the woman, and you're driving, and all of a sudden gas hits you, and you have to tighten your behind up so it won't sneak out on you. See, that's the thing about gas. Gas is like a terrorist. It has no sense of time. So you're driving, and you're sitting there, and the gas comes down, and you've got your behind tightened so it won't sneak out on you. And the gas, another thing about gas is going to find a way out. So it goes down and stops. Say, hey, I can't get out. So it goes back up your digestive system, and then it stops at your stomach and starts playing with you and makes that noise, and you have to play it out. I'm hungry. Your face sitting up there. You just ate. They said. Then it goes back up, goes up the esophagus. Then it says, I'm going somewhere where I know he can't stop me. So it goes up and it comes out as a burp. Which is cool. But the woman that's sitting next to you, who was debating earlier whether she's going to kiss you or not, is now sitting there confused because she doesn't know whether to offer you a stick of gum or a can of Lysol. So that doesn't work. So then I'm thinking, well, we all sit on the toilet. Yeah, we all sit on the toilet. We all sit on the toilet. Problem, not public toilet. Public toilets, you do what is called a squat, where you come over it, stand over it, and you squat down. But the problem with the the squat is that when you do the squat and you drop your load, the water always comes back up and splashes you right back in your behind. So you're doing the squat, the water comes, hits you right back in your behind. Which is not good. Which is not good. I'm telling you, that's the real reason why they invented tiny ball. To kind of shade, blind the water, you know, and also that's the water's way of showing you it doesn't appreciate you dropping such a big load on top of it. So then I'm saying, well, another bad thing about the squat is that how do you know you're on target when you're doing a squat? So you go down on it, go down, and then your behind has this radar in it, so it tells you if you get when you get 1 inch from it, 1 inch, and you start moving, then it says on target, and you just stop moving all of a sudden, then you just drop your load. And another thing is, what happens when you get that tough one that won't come out when you're doing the squat? See, when you sit down, you get that tough one. You just use all stomach. It just, the stomach gets it out. But when you're doing the squat, you get that tough one. It's kind of like lifting. So you're standing there, you're squatting, and you're grunting a little bit, and it won't come out. And the guy in the stall next to you starts screaming, use your legs, use your legs. So you use your legs, and it comes back up, it hits you right back in your behind, and you stand up. But the good thing about the squat is that when you drop your load, and the water comes back and hits you in your behind, you get the drop and the wash all in one motion. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm saying, hey, none of this worked. None of it worked. Hold on a second. I'm up here. And it didn't work. Ah, I'm freezing. I'm Tony Wycoff. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming.
Tony, Bo-Boney, Banana Fan, Bo-Boney, Eli, Mo-Boney, Tony Wycoff. Yeah, wasn't that a pretty slick segue there? Tony Wycoff, let's give it to him one more time. Yeah, I've been there with that. The problem I have using other people's toilets is there's always a floater, and you're in there flushing it, and you know, some cheap-ass motherfuckers, they put a brick in the tank so that it doesn't really flush it. So you got this little floater. You'd rather have them thinking that you're blowing ash smoke down the toilet bowl than to have them see a floater there, you know? You're at the Astor Mansion in Newport, you know, flushing. What is he doing in there? Manufacturing crack cocaine? You know, because he left a floater in the bowl. He's not going to be in the 500 anymore. Sorry, he's exiled, banished. You know, in the course of conducting this rather hectically paced show, I didn't have the opportunity to... There. Yeah, that's another thing. Tony, you ever notice, maybe you don't because you're from there, but it seems to me that when you're down south, everybody, when they get mad at you, they start talking like they're taking a shit, you know? It's like, what you doing around here anyway? You ain't got no business around here. I think I'm gonna get my 30-gauge shotgun and blow your stinking head off is what I'm gonna do. Well, mister, I just wanted to tell you that your head was on fire. Oh, thanks. That's better. You were here last week, right?
Yeah.
And the week before that, and there was nobody here, so you said, oh, fuck it. But this week, you actually brought an entourage. You know, I know hairdressers that have a bigger following than me, and I know that it's tough to get people to come and see a show, even if it's free, even if it's on a Saturday when almost nobody works except. And there's another thing I'm thinking about. UPS men, they always come from 9 to 5. When anybody who would be getting a package is at work. You know, I mean, what's the logic behind this? But anyway, I know you told me your name, and I've forgotten it. What is it?
Jonathan? No.
Jonathan. Not just John or Joe or Jack or any of that plebeian names. No, Jonathan. Like Jonathan Livingston Seagull and Jonathan Edwards, the famous preacher from Connecticut who spoke about the spider getting burned up in the fire. And there's a local group called Jonathan and Jennifer, but they're women.
I'm named after
You are? Cool. Jonathan, well, what's your last name, Jonather?
Eder. E-D-E-R.
E-D-E-R. Eder.
That's how you pronounce it.
Well, you could open up a restaurant called the Gates of Eder. There you go. Hey, or Eder Park, something like that. It'd be cool. The Garden of Eder. Wow. Man, I'm really hitting them, all 6 cylinders. Too bad I'm an 8-cylinder. But anyway, here he is. Mr. Can I call you Mr.? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Mr. Jonathan Eder.
Hi. How you guys doing?
Pretty darn good.
I'm feeling good. I am feeling good. But then again, that's what a girlfriend's for. Although, who is she? You can't imagine what she's like. I can. And they're only usually for about 3 to 5 minutes. But, this brings to mind the whole question of pursuing a better way of life. And in that respect, I feel like a Cuban refugee. Of course, I've always felt it was smart to run away from large bearded men who like to suck on things. But, in fairness, I mean, these Cubans, they're simply looking for a better way of life. Which is why I think we're doing the right thing by not letting them into Miami. Because, Miami, face facts, it's just not what it used to be. Although with every hotel closure, it's getting closer. But, because you go there, it's always been a nice place to visit. Miami has always been a nice place to visit. But now you go there, you say, it's a nice place to visit, but I'd really rather not live here. And more often than not, that's what actually ends up happening. But, I think we should give the Cubans a shot. Give them a shot to find a better way of life in the United States. Because we can't do it. So, it's interesting. A lot of influential people from Washington have been discussing this very issue of a better way of life as it relates to Cuban refugees. And their feeling is that it's quite possible as long as you don't pay them Social Security. But, this all makes me feel that we should address the question of health care. There's been a lot of discussion about health care. And I think the Republicans are kind of misunderstood on this whole issue. I mean, people think that they're not for health care. And, in fact, that's not true. They just feel that it should be provided by the Canadians. But, we should feel proud as Americans because we have the finest medicine in the world. I mean, I can't attest to that personally, but it's what all my wealthy foreign friends tell me. And, so I think, we should give credit to our president. He's been trying to push a lot through. Some people have a problem with that, in particular Paula Jones and Jennifer Flowers, but he has been trying to achieve a great deal. And so I think we have a good president. Maybe not in this century, but I think we have somewhere along the line. But I feel now I should make my formal introduction. I'm unwell, which is Spanish for Cuban refugee. And no, actually, I'm not Spanish. I am unwell. I'm named after my father, Luke Unwell. And people ask me who I am, and I say, Luke Unwell. And they agree, saying I look just like my father. And we should go see a doctor immediately. But, my family has been unwell for centuries. During the plague, they thought we would be wiped out. But we persevered. We were resilient. We stayed unwell. Actually, I come from a very old German Catholic family. So old, in fact, many of us are Jewish. So Jewish that many of us are old in German. Which is, I don't really know what it is that I'm talking about. Then again, nobody else does. So why should I be any different? Now, I do come from a very old family. Very old. Very, very old. So old we're the ones that lost the missing link. Which is why I have a feeling of contrition. We can no longer eat sausage. But you know, my family has prospered over the years. So much so that the only people I meet these days are also unwell. And so the desire for something different I've had to project upon strange alien beings. But I've always been attracted to strange alien beings. Passionately so, in fact. But eventually I grew bored with masturbation. Especially when I was involved. Which was rare. Since I didn't like to be touched. Except by other people. You know, the dogs. The dogs. I was jealous of their fur. I had wanted to be like Mummy. I wanted to take after her. She left the house when I was 2. Didn't come back till I was 3. I could never forgive her. Even though she brought me presents after being away all that afternoon. But what I need is a strange, alien dream girl. That's what I need. But will I ever find true love? Especially now that the neighbors are drawing their curtains. No, I pine for my strange, alien dream girl. I know I shouldn't rush into things, but then a lot of people have trouble with premature ejaculation. Actually, my problem is more with immature ejaculation. Comes out my nose. Once got a girl's nose pregnant, but she was a devout Catholic and refused to see a plastic surgeon. Fortunately, she had allergies. My sister, though, that's another story. She came into my room last night, and she is such a beautiful girl. She has a healthy glow, especially when you turn out the lights. Long, curly hair. Beautiful body. Which makes it all the more poignant, watching her hit herself. My parents were very cruel to her when she was growing up. Whenever she did something wrong, they let her devise her own punishments. But I'm going to have to face who I am. It's time for me to grow up. Get serious. Take stock. Smell the coffee and puke. I do want to go a little bit further in my family background, but only just for a bit. Because I have to take advantage of these opportunities because I recently stopped having appointments with my psychiatrist, although we still date, because neither of us thought it was time to give up therapy. But, no, like many Americans, I was raised by children, and it was nice. It was fun, very free at times. I mean, we used to do the dishes together in the tub, so we could save on Mr. Bubble. And it was wacky. I mean, we used to wear our pants in our heads. When we had to blow our noses, we needed to unzip. And we only said, "Excuse me," when we inadvertently pissed on each other. But, you know, eventually the social workers showed up at the house, you know. And my mother was doing childhood regression yoga at the time, stretching her neck and her lips simultaneously, so that way she could suck on both her boy and girl nipple. And Daddy was upset, you know. Daddy was banging a spoon on the table, covered in peas, jealous of Mommy's capacity to regress so freely. Because this was the only way that Daddy took tea on himself. Well, naturally, the social workers were shocked. We were all shocked, in fact. We decided to give the house a bath while vacuuming and watching TV. Because that way the goldfish could go on vacation. But it was good. It all worked out okay, because the social workers completely lost consciousness, forgot who they were, and as a result, they now all have much better jobs. But eventually, Mommy and Daddy grew up, or we grew up, and we had to provide them daycare. So we got them jobs in government where they could be properly looked after. But, due to these kind of experiences I've had, I feel that life, is always evolving, always changing, mutating. Particularly when you don't put away your groceries. But, now I'm in love. I'm in love myself. But I don't want to talk about narcissism now. No, I want to talk about the girl next door. I love the girl next door, which I think is a strange place to do it. She likes it standing up. But let me just tell you one thing. While I'm thinking of it, I spilled my coffee. I spilled my milk. Because I didn't want to waste the coffee. Thank you very much. I'm unwell, but you can reach me through telephone directory assistance at Jonathan Eder, E-D-E-R. Au revoir, mes amis.
Jonathan Eder.
Yes.
Jonathan Eder. Well, it's not my place to comment on your set, but that was great. That was swell. Boy, golly, it was a gem dandy. Well, we hope that we'll see you at other fine comedy venues. Ones where the rug isn't saturated with ashes and the sound system works. And are you touring at all? Are you gonna
I'm going to Kendall Square.
Oh, cool. I thought you were gonna say Ogalla, Texas, and I was gonna say, hey, brother, I'm there. Where? I mean, are you?
No,
out?
I'll come back here.
Okay, yeah, come back here.
There's more.
Sharpen up the set, yeah, and try it out and throw it to the wall, see if it sticks, and if it does, you're obviously making spaghetti. Gee, I'll tell you, we get all kinds of comics in here, and you're really. No, I wasn't gonna say different. No, you're good. You're real good. This is my Bob Newhart, yeah, well, it's tough, because, you get these comedy clubs, and the MCs come up and say, what about it, Phil? What are you saying? That was really... these guys might be Marine sergeants, for all we know, in a former life. All right, you maggots! I want you on a big round of applause for, that kind of thing. Like they're bullying you into, and that's just not the way I like to go about things. Like it took me a week to tell the guy who sold me a car that the engine caught on fire. Most people they'd be on the horn the second it happened. I couldn't wait to get to a cellular phone, so I'm screaming this at you from 3 miles away. That car's a lemon. You're an asshole. I want my money back. But no. He took me out to dinner. And, we're halfway through the barbecue rib platter at Red Bones. Check it out, by the way, Tony, if you're homesick for good Texas barbecue, because they got a barbecue platter that'll give you arteriosclerosis just from looking at it. It's like huge, Okay, it's $13, but it's huge, you know. I mean, so you don't go away hungry, which, and if you did, you could go into the other patrons and eat off their plates because they can't finish it, you know. And, you know, that's the thing. I coerced myself on this $13 dinner, and then I said, "Are you eating that potato salad?" to my friend John there. Hey, it's John Bowles, Andrew Morvay, Nita Sembrowitz. Who says I have short attention memory deficit here? I remember the names of all the people I've known for the past 15 years. And, well, this is really swell. But what was I getting at there? The oh yeah, he took me out to dinner halfway through the barbecue course. He said, "Oh, by the way, how's the car running?" And I said, "Oh, fine." Except the engine caught on fire. And I broke down 2 miles from the Alston-Cambridge exit on the Mass Pike, and I had to park in a breakdown lane, which was the size of a coffin, which it very nearly ended up being. And fortunately, a Mass Pike truck pulled up behind me, and I thought, gee, those AAA people sure are efficient, man. I didn't even call them, and they've already sent somebody. But they were just happened to be cruising along there. Hey, what seems to be the problem? Gee, I don't know. Open up the hood. You know, it's like, gee, looks like your engine's on fire. No, it's just the insulation. Yeah, get a whiff of that asbestos. You know, and we just sort of tore it out of the car and stomped on it, and I was in a daze, you know. I bought the car exactly 10 days ago, and it's like, I don't care if I live or die. Don't walk into the road. It's the surest way to get killed. And you know, these truck drivers, these people that do maintenance on the Mass Pike, there's always an old guy and a young guy, you know. And the old guy's always driving, and the young guy does all the dirty work, like sticks his hand, you know, elbow deep in filthy oil or something like that, you know. It's always the old guy. Yeah, you're doing that right. You're doing that right. I've never seen anybody get as filthy as you. You know you're doing your job when you get filthy. Filthy. Oh, I've been filthy for 20 years. Now it's your turn, youngster. You know, I got my fat pension waiting for me. I got my condo in Florida. I'm just biding time here. I'm going to watch you do all the filthy, crusty, you know, you catch the diseases. Me, I'm going to sit here in the truck and listen to the oldies station. That Frank Sinatra, I'll tell you, they don't write them like that anymore. Let me tell you. So, anyway, yeah, they give me a ride to the toll gate, and I call it AAA. And AAA, no matter what, even if you have the AAA Plus, they always have an excuse not to go and get your car. You know, it's like they keep you on hold for like 3 hours, and finally, yes, can I help you? Except in this case, it was a guy, you know. Sometimes they get a woman. You know, and somebody was supposed to think when you get a guy, he's going to know what to do, you know. But no, it's even worse. It's like, how could you be so stupid? Kind of tone of voice, you know. It's like, I'm sick of people like you, 18 hours a day, calling up, wanting to get their flats fixed. You know, my car won't start. Well, try turning the ignition key, okay? You know, oh, that works. Okay, bye now. You know, but, so I told him, he says, well, we can't send a truck over, we can't send a tow truck over to the Mass Pike. You gotta call the state police for that. It's like, excuse me? Call the state police? I mean, what's wrong with you people? What am I paying? What am I forking over a C note a year for you fuckers to tell me, you know, we can't do anything. It's the state. You know, they come up with an excuse for anything. You know, my car's floating off of Edgartown. Call Teddy Kennedy's press secretary. We can't do anything about that, you know. They're like, well, it's a Volkswagen. Well, stick an outboard motor in it and sail it back to shore, you know. It's like, so finally, you know, the state police, and of course the state police are even less patient than the AAA people. They're like, yeah, got a breakdown? Where'd you say? That's not a good place. Oh yeah, we'll send a tow truck over. Yeah, sure. And then they get these guys, they've been on the goddamn payroll, sucking the government's tit for the last 20 years, you know. They're like, well, where do you want me to take it? Well, I was thinking you can take it to this garage I like to go to. Well, we'll take it to our garage. You know, dollar signs light up in their eyes. Ching, ching, sucker, sucker, sucker. He looks at my head, there's a giant lollipop there, you know. He's like, oh boy, we got ourselves a live one here. But no, I said, well, I got AAA Plus. All of a sudden, AAA Plus, another fucking deadbeat. I'll be lucky if I get a lousy $5 tip out of this one. Yeah, do you tip tow truck drivers? I wonder about this. Because, you know, you would tip the guy who tied a mattress onto the roof of your car. You'd hand him at least $5, you know. I'm sure it's a thankless job. not an awful lot of job security or even benefits, you know. I dropped a 300-pound bed frame on my toe. Sorry, this is a $5 an hour job. We can't do anything for you. Well, I'll tell you what, instead of calling you Stinky, we'll call you Limpy from now on. So you give that guy $5, but not the tow truck operator for some reason. And yet, you know, here he is, you know, giving himself a hernia every time he bolts that fucker up onto the back of the truck. You ever notice they got this little sling for the car? They take better care of your car when you break down than they take care of you when you're in the hospital, you know? I have a feeling that those slings wouldn't break no matter what on the car. You know, you could be the San Francisco earthquake. Well, the car and truck were totaled, but the sling's still on it, you know? But, you know, in the hospital, it's a different story altogether. They wake you up at 2 in the morning. Time for your sleeping pill. Do you want some Jell-O? You know, great, you know. Here I am, I got 103-degree fever, I got spinal meningitis, and you're asking me if I want fucking Jell-O. Do you have lemon lime? You know? And, so I don't know. Finally, you know, he tows the truck. I take it to the repair guy. Guess what? Metric systems up on Broadway. Salt of the earth, these people. I'm telling you. Not that they don't charge. Boy, do they charge. But, you know, with Volkswagens, you can expect that. Oh, so you're one of those individualistic, non-conformist Volkswagen drivers. Think you're better than all the Fords and Chevys out there, huh? Well, if you were O.J. Simpson with the white Ford Bronco, I'd give you a break, but you're a Volkswagen driver. I'm going to charge you $250 to change your clutch cable. How do you like that, sucker? You know, but actually this guy's really soft-spoken, unlike about maybe 98% of all car repairmen. You know, you ever get this, you know? The guy's got a butt smoldering out of the side of his mouth. He's got a greasy rag stuffed in his pocket. He's got tattoos that say, I'll eat the corn out of your shit, baby. And, you know, the thing is, you know, I'm sure they're very good with cars and stuff, but they're just not very good at social interface, you know? Yeah? You want your car? Tomorrow? That's what they all say. I'll have it for you next week. And you're gonna like it or lump it, see? Credit cards? We don't take them. No, cash on the barrelhead. What, you don't got cash? Well, I'm not gonna take a check. What do you think I am? You think I've been in business for 20 years taking checks from D-ups like you? You know, but this guy's really nice. He's soft-spoken, well-mannered. But I have the car pulled into the metric systems up on Broadway, and I recommend it very highly, except if you have a Volkswagen, like, try to call ahead, because I don't want my car to not get repaired because you bring your car in without calling ahead. So, guess what? Cambridge is doing their street cleaning. Actually, in Cambridge, street cleaning is tearing up half of the road, and, you know, cars backed up all the way to the bridge, you know, for 3 miles in either direction, because they decided to tear up the street just before Labor Day weekend, on the busiest week of the year, on the hottest day of the year. You know, these guys are really something. They couldn't have planned it better if they had tried. So, sorry, my lot's all full up. You're going to have to come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow? Come back tomorrow? You don't understand. My car has a fur-covered keyhole. I've got to have it now. You know, kind of thing. So, but anyway, he's very nice, and I like him, and he's a good guy. He knows a lot about cars, and, well, I mean, yeah, he's a car mechanic. Duh. You know, it's like saying about a doctor, well, you sure can fix a boo-boo. Yes, sir. So I bring the car in the next day. He calls me at work, you know. Well, we got some good news for you and some bad news. Remember how I said that it might be just a tempest in a teapot? Well, seems as though the fire melted away your radiator cap and your clutch cable and this and that. And okay, Doc, what's the verdict? $250. You know, $250. I paid $200 for the damn. But so anyway, now it runs really smooth, except now when it's in idle, it goes. You know, I feel like I'm going to enter the 8th dimension before too long. You know, my name is Saws. You know, it's like, welcome to our dimension. You know, nitrous oxide would be extraneous in this environment because you already feel like you're floating backwards into some sort of never land every time you start the car now that the insulation's gone. But anyway, this has been Comedy on the Edge, and I'm actually going to begin the second part of the show very shortly, but this segment of the show has come to an end, but stick around because the very next segment of the show is coming up very, very soon. So, and thank you all for staying and commiserating with me, if in fact that's what you were doing, instead of laughing at my misfortunes in cruel mockery. You are oblivious in your reckless cruelty. You know, but anyway, no, really, sincerely. You know, whenever people say sincerely, what they really mean is, I'm trying to get one over on you. Thanks.
You actually are arrested?
No, I'm a manager. If you ever see pro wrestling managers are the guys who you like nerdy guys that should come out to the ring with the wrestlers, do the interviews. But we're gonna be not wrestling for good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, on April. Starting Friday night.
In April? Oh, wow.
Hello.
That's great.
Good evening. This week we're in Nashville.
How are you? So good to see you. Today in our audience we have two very sophisticated guests. Mr. Bill Berliner, wrestling promoter extraordinaire.
Wrestling manager!
Wrestling
Travis
manager.
Melrose, leader of the Melrose generation!
And Mr. Steve Iskovitz. Now, I don't know if we can persuade these talented individuals to take the stage
In
at
2 weeks.
Comedy on the Edge, but I'll let hell with them. I'll just get up here. I don't care. I'm tired. We're gonna get Steve up here?
Steve.
Or do you need a couple minutes? I'll vaporize for just a minute. I just want to follow up the story I told last week about my car. I was driving my sister down to Providence for a gig at the prestigious AS220 Club that nobody's ever heard of, even though it's world famous. And as I was doing 75 in the passing lane, racing to get down there in time so we could like grab a bite to eat before I had to go straight over to the club, set up the camera, put on my costume, and do my shtick. What should happen but that the hood flew up? You know, it was like, whoop! You know, and there's I'm driving blind, you know, I'm like Daredevil, the man without fear behind an 18-wheeler. You know, that's like my sister's sitting next to me. Now stay calm, you know, and I'm like, you're making me nervous, shut up, I can handle this, you know, so like, we stop the car, open up, you know, sit on the hood. Well, actually, I didn't sit on the hood. I put the latch so that the hood would stay on. And then we had about 20 miles to go.
50% of your audience has already heard this story.
No, you're wrong.
Oh.
Are you all there? Then it's 50%. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to follow that up with that little anecdote about the hood. So we drove with the latch on the hood, and everything was fine. And now I'm going to replace the hood with a hood from a different Volkswagen, a totally different color. So now I can have one of those two-tone cars that I always deplore when I see them on the streets. Except I'll be driving it, so it'll be okay. Instead of being fucking slob, too cheap to buy a decent hood, it's like avant-garde statement. So anyway,
Avant-garde is just what middle-class people call things that are poor.
you mean things that are weird?
What?
You mean things that are incompetent and yet weird?
No.
That's the avant-garde?
Yeah, well, things that are basically poor. I mean, if you can't afford something, you know.
Then it's avant-garde.
A poor person calls it poor, and a middle-class person calls it avant-garde.
Maybe they call it bohemian.
Bohemian, right. You're right, that's quite a valuable insight. So, in other words, if you have silicone breast implants, but you decide to get them from the runoff from an aloe plant, then it's not poor, it's avant-garde. All right, well, of course, the Middle East is the home of the avant-garde. We are here at the Middle East Cafe. This is Comedy on the Edge. We weren't sure we were going to have a show this week. We're not sure we're having one next week. We're not even sure we really had one last week.
We're not even sure we're having one now.
That's right, we're not even sure we're having one now because this is the Middle East where anything can happen, including the appearance after a long hiatus of the fantabulous, extraordinary, and
Hey, Francis, can I interview you?
deeply original Steve Iskovitz. You want to interview me?
Yeah.
All right, interview me. Gee, just what the world needs. 15 more minutes of me vaporizing an extended length. Cool, you got the tape recorder running?
Yes.
Okay, remember, it's that little button that says record.
Does this thing work?
You damn well better. You can have mine.
Hello.
Talk a little louder.
Hello? Geez, I don't even need the, oh, it does work.
Yeah, it does work. It's just hard to tell. There's no monitors.
Do you think a person eats drugs and realize that nothing makes any sense?
Funny you should ask that, because me and Phil were just talking about that. I think that the function of drugs is to sort of, it's sort of like Darwin's survival of the fittest. If you use drugs, then you're sort of playing with that notion that you are one of the fittest. If you're fit and you use them, you find out what it means to be stupid. And if you're stupid and you use them, then it means that you're basically separating yourself from the gene pool. Because even though you may reproduce, your children don't have a very good chance of surviving or at least reproducing and working their way up the reproductive ladder instead of down, you know. In other words, the third generation of alcoholics. Why not? We'll ask more questions then. That's it.
Well,
boy, I'll tell you.
No,
It's just extraneous. Can't explain.
Just think about standing on a stage. There's only one person in the audience who you know, and a video camera.
Steve, if you were standing on a stage in front of an audience, there'd be only one person in the audience you know. Just think of the camera as constituting an audience of 300.
So, I mean, the fact that
it's a little machine.
It's like, I could just be standing in a room, I could be like hanging out in my room talking to a friend.
No, it's more.
Instead of staying on stage talking to a friend.
No. See, this is where you are being foolish. It's more like hanging your head out the window and screaming to a crowd of 300 people. Except you're not doing it in
I don't
real
see
time.
300 people anywhere, Fred.
They're in the camera, Steve. There's 300 little people in there, and they're all watching.
But there's no interaction. I mean, we get no feedback.
This is why you're poor and I'm wealthy, because you don't have any notion of potentiality, and I do.
I don't have any what?
You don't have any notion of the potentiality. It's like being a collector. This comic book only costs 12 cents, but in 30 years it will be worth $300. Don't you get it, Steve? There's only one person here now, but in 3 months there's going to be...
get that?
There's going to be 300 people watching this, at least. Hell, 400. 500.
Well, what good does it do us?
I mean, what good does it do? If you ask that about anything, what good does it do me that you can get up in the morning? Why don't I just stay in bed?
No.
What good does it do me to vote? It's only one person.
Oh, well, yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, you could drive yourself mad with that train of thought. You know, what good does it do to, like, wear clothing? I mean, you know,
really.
Well, it's not cold out. No, that's just true. But,
That's a good question, actually.
All right, what good is it for me to squeeze this pimple? It'll just leave an ugly scar.
That's a good question, too.
But it'll give me such satisfaction.
Oh, that's all subjective, anyway.
Well, I guess. What good does it do to me to, like, reach around back and get that hard to reach one, you know? After, like, 3 months I've been working on it, slapping the hot rag on that baby. You know, finally, dun, 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 it opens up. You know, everything opens up. It's like, I'm going to have a good day today. That pimple came off, my scab flaked off. Man, I'm really cooking. I lost 12 hairs in my comb. Usually I lose 15.
You know, I read this thing in this book where there was this yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Put this ad in this gay newspaper saying that he could teach people how to blow themselves.
Well, it's funny because one of the holy modal rounders, I think it was Peter Stamfel, no, it was his buddy Steve Weber, he said that he could blow himself. And he even demonstrated, well, he didn't demonstrate it, but he said, yeah, just do like this and go, you know, so it's like, and you know, everybody laughed, they thought this was really funny, but, you know, the thing is, if you could blow yourself, you wouldn't need a girlfriend now, would you? Think about it, yeah? I mean, and where would the human race be as a species if we could do that? You know, monkeys can do it, but, you know, they're horny. That's the thing about us, that's what differentiates us from animals. We can ignore our instincts. They can't. So, and you know, if your instinct is to blow yourself, well, have a good time, you know?
Well, we're smart enough to fool ourselves.
We're smart enough to fool ourselves. Yet another gem of wisdom that comes dripping from your mouth at intervals that are so difficult to predict. Well, someone once told me that I was right 1 time in 6. You know, isn't that a great thing to lay on somebody? Well, you know, you're smart, but you're only right 1 time in 6. It's like, well, I talk so much, you know. Throw enough spaghetti against the wall, one piece is going to stick.
It's like the run to set up the pass.
Well, I don't usually talk that much. That's the thing. I used to talk a lot. But the less you talk, the more people listen. It's true. There's Phil looking at his watch. It's like, I don't have a watch.
What are you wearing on?
You could walk down the street going like this, and people would say, man, this guy's weird, but if you're wearing a watch, it's okay. You can walk down the street talking to yourself, but if you have a cellular phone in your hand, people say, hey, that's okay. That's what the world is. It's all props, my friends. Props.
Tell me about it.
Nothing less, you know? Why do you think women put rags in their
Yes,
bras?
the dogma is the biggest prop of all.
Yeah, well, you know, there's nothing more heartwarming than to see a boy in his dogma. Like, you know, like, what do you mean? What do you mean the United States is bad? The United States is good! What do you mean J. Edgar Hoover's bad? J. Edgar Hoover was good! What do you mean we lost in Vietnam? We didn't lose! The United States has never lost a war! What do you mean? You know, it's like, boy, you know, you drum these things in the kids' heads, and by 4th grade, most of them are smart enough to realize that there's one thing you say for public consumption and another thing that you know deep down is actually true. But some people just don't get that. They don't make that connection. It's like, why are you hitting me? You said in class that violence is bad. Ah, that was just for them. Boom, you know. It's like sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So then the kids in the neighborhood get some sticks and stones and start clobbering you with them. All right, here's a stick. I got a stone. Wham, you know. So that's how they get you.
There's more money to be made in dogma.
That's true. Well, I don't know. Man bites dog. That's news. Man bites dogma. Even bigger news. Yes. That's just it. All the people who've been put to death for their beliefs have been put to death because they punctured dogmas that keep people in line. Galileo? Oh no, the Earth's not the center of the universe. The sun's the center of the universe. Actually, a giant turtle deep beneath the surface of the Earth is the center of the universe. So they're both wrong. But, well, that's just it. Imagine being put to death for a belief that's equally as wrong as the dogma that you're puncturing. I mean, boy, that's a real bummer, isn't it? You know, it's like Oswald didn't kill Kennedy. Both of the clowns killed him. You know.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. I killed him with laughter. That's right. You know, when he was like clutching his head, that's because he was watching me on a little screen. You know, it's like, you know, it's like, it's so sad. You know, that's just it too. Hubris. Why did Abe Lincoln have to go to the Ford Theater to see An American Cousin? Imagine getting your head blown off just to see a lousy third-rate play. I mean, if it had been, you know, Hamlet or something, you could sort of see where he would risk it. But An American Cousin? You know, you ever seen the script of this thing? It's basically about some hick that goes to London and all of the sophisticated urbanites taunt this yokel. But of course, in true American style, he gets one up over on him at the end of the play. Too bad Lincoln didn't get to the third act. See?
Lincoln's table was out.
Huh? That's right. Worse than actually going to this crummy play is not even getting to see the shock surprise ending, you know. And Sic Semper Tyrannis, you know, John Wilkes Booth, he leaps to the Sic Semper Tyrannis, you know. What a dope. If he had just leapt to the stage without trying to say something, he might not have twisted his ankle and they wouldn't have caught him in that barn. He would have had like hundreds of kids. They could have rewritten the whole Lincoln saga. John Wilkes Booth was actually a Confederate patriot. And the reason the Confederate Army won the Civil War was because, you know, the history could have been changed. If Lincoln hadn't been shot, the slaves would have been given 40 acres and a mule. The South would be like, you know, this gigantic agricultural heartland, and you know, black people would be like, they'd be all like Bill Cosby and shit, you know. I mean, you know, they'd be on the cover of Cigar Aficionado magazine, and you know, they'd be driving speedboats. We'd be the poor ones. We'd be the urban proletariat. And they'd be like sitting pretty. You know, yep, I got that 40 acres and a mule and I parlayed it into a multi-billion-dollar empire. Say, me too, my brother. You know, they wouldn't even have this brother solidarity thing. They'd be just as selfish and insular as white people are. And, you know, white people don't go around saying, my brother. You know, you are a white man, therefore you are my brother. Unless they're like Nazis or racialists or you know, they live out in Iowa. It's like, a white man was recently brought to trial, and the judge let him go because he too was a white man. You know, there's the Masons and stuff like that, but you couldn't do it across the entire Caucasian race. And I kind of doubt the Asians, you know, lend any more than a gimlet eye to the crimes of their fellow Asians. Asian defendant, Asian judge, and it's like, guilty. And since you have disgraced us, I double your sentence.
Well, they do it more by nationality than by country.
Oh, that's true, you know. It's wrong to say that all Asians are alike. The Vietnamese, they're like incredibly entrepreneurial. The Chinese, they're incredibly entrepreneurial. The Japanese, they're incredibly entrepreneurial, and they're good with math, and they're incredibly good at taking the lessons from neglected geniuses like Edward Demings and applying them to their own manufacturing. That's why Toyota is like really big, because you know, this guy Edward Deming at the end of the Second World War, he tried to tell GM, Ford, and you know, the big three, tried to say, look, you gotta have quality. You can't build cars that are gonna break down, or else people won't buy them anymore. But, foolish man, they'll purchase whatever we tell them to. What's our competition? A bunch of fucking rice burners? A goddamn Nazi car? Fuck, man. Well, hell, we could give them a goddamn rocket sled they'd buy, you know? Just put some fins on that sucker, 18 miles to the liter, you know? But then he goes over to Japan and they're all going, oh, yes, quality. And now, 30 years later, they have the last laugh. So, what can you say? Say, what's your name?
Jonathan Eder.
Oh, hey, Jonathan, you want to get up here?
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, an unexpected pleasure, which is what they used to say about a certain brand of cigarettes in the 60s, I think. Or no, it was Miller High Life. Oh, Michelob? Like, you know, Michelob some days are better than others. But it was like, oh no, in the 60s they had this thing that went, Miller High Life, the champagne of bottled beers. Well, here's the champagne of comedians, Mr. Jonathan Eder.
Hi, thanks very much. I'm not sure I have all that much biz. It's been kind of a rough week. People say that I should use my head. They're partially right. It's just that I don't flush. Because, you know, sometimes I get really low. Really low. And it's the only way I have during these moments when I'm not thinking straight to feel sure that I haven't lost my shit. And admittedly, my shit isn't all together. But I can solve that with a little vomit. You know, recently I went to the doctor. He asked me to stick out my tongue. But I took it one step further. I spat him. Or at least I wish I hadn't. But I didn't have the guts. He had them. In the refrigerator. Next to the anesthetic that we both used before an operation. He'd wheel me into the operating table. Start to operate. Ask directions. I don't know, maybe this is all just a crazy deluded memory, but modern medicine has given me so many drugs that I've become a side effect. It's on my resume. And it all came home all the more when I was invited recently to join a side effects bowling league. Based on my medical records alone, they're willing to give me a generous handicap. But I joined mostly for the social reasons. Their big annual gala event, the gutter ball. But it wasn't supposed to be like this. I was supposed to be married by now, maybe even divorced. I was going to be on this space program's alternate list. Professor of 19th century French poetry. But only to shatter the stereotypes. Parked next to my statues of Baudelaire and Voltaire would be my Heisman Trophy. But it didn't work out that way. It didn't go according to plan. They gave me antibiotics and Prozac. And they should have given me Prozac and Yukon Gin. They should have let me give the nurse things. That's not how they work. They anesthetize you. They steal your fight. It was operating day. The bedding was heavy in the doctor's lounge. They had me sewn up in record time, but there was a controversy. The gynecologists and nurses wanted a replay. So I was booked for another night. I don't know. Memory gets fuzzy right now, and maybe it's, again, a deluded attack on an otherwise noble and caring profession. Well, I better hope so. I've got an appointment tomorrow at 10. And anyway, when you're still living at home, at age 37, with your parents, It's important to have a professional that can provide you with the right chemistry. But I don't want to go any further into my graduate school experiences. But it is true, I did go to a voyeur's convention. Not because I'm a voyeur, but I needed help finding somebody. You know, it was interesting. It was the first time these voyeurs had convened. And although most of them had never met, they'd all already seen each other. Well, as you might imagine, public image was on everybody's mind. But then the binoculars arrived and they could move on to other business. None of it their own. But you know, voyeurs are really very sensitive people. Particularly today. With today's technology, they can be sensitive at over 100 yards. And you know, they're very generous in spirit as well. Because after all, think about it. They can only have a good time if you're having one too. Well, you know, they're aware. They're aware of voyeurs of their relationship with society. They just don't want society to be aware of it. But they decided at this convention that they would do something, make a gesture. So they resolved that to the maximum extent possible, they would watch out that all Americans practice safe sex. So, I don't know, maybe there's something in there for us, I don't know. But safe sex, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. Different things. I mean, for me, it's just a question of keeping my nails short. But, I don't know. My friend, Peter, came up to me the other day and said that whenever he has sex, he wears a life jacket over his chest. I said, Peter, don't you think this is taking the whole issue of safety and sex a little too far? He didn't think so, because he likes big breasts. Well, anyway, that's all for now. Thank you. God bless. Francis?
You can't stop now. I haven't finished inhaling my crack.
Ah, all right. Well, all we need is love, you know that. Some of us more than others. The Kennedys, for example. But all we need is love. I know, because I have a good memory. My old girlfriend. She was a lovely girl. Beautiful girl. She had the childhood photos to prove it. But she had to move on. And on. And eventually I got tired following her, so I moved back to my hometown. My hometown had moved in with another hometown. And there was no place for me to go. So I went back to the city, where I'd last lived with my girlfriend, and went in search of a memory. And I found it, and got arrested. When they arrested me, they said that I had the right to remain silent, because anything that I might say would be used and held against me. I don't remember saying anything about clubs. Well, anyway, maybe I'm a bad man, but I'm a good woman. God didn't make me that way. The army did. The only place I could eat was IHOP. But eventually I got a discharge. It wasn't too painful, but it was good enough to get me out of the army. Francis, how we doing?
Groovy.
Good.
Wait a minute, before you go, tell me a little something about yourself.
You know, I was reading your biography in the Noise, and I realized that we might have a friend in common.
Oh no, who?
Mr. Stephen Cause, now editor of the
National Enquirer.
National Enquirer.
How do you know Stephen Cause?
I just know him from, I'm not really sure how we first
I went to high school and college with him.
That's right, yeah. No, I met him when he was at Harvard. I did not go to Harvard, but my best friend was at Harvard, and they shared a quad.
Well, there's a sitcom for you.
Yeah.
My best friend is at Harvard. And like, well, what did you learn today? I learned about metaphysics. What did you learn? I learned that they won't take the bottles if they're dirty. You gotta like clean them out first.
Yeah, well, I've moved ahead in life, but as a result. But yeah, I think I haven't seen Steve in a long time. Have you?
No, in fact, you know, what he's doing, I could have been doing. If I had gone to that recruitment meeting, if I hadn't said, what? Work for the very same magazine that filled my poor proletarian mother with delusions? Never. You know, the National Enquirer used to be great in the 60s. They'd have headlines like, bald weirdo rapes war widow, and fiendish scientists force dogs to smoke cigarettes, you know, and stuff like that. And now it's like, oh, humdrum, you know, it's like OJ, you know, the secret story behind this. I read it faithfully every week, you know.
Yeah.
And he always has one little thing in there, or it seems that way anyway, even though he's like, you know, the big major domo. And I think he hired one of his friends too, Dan McDonald. I'm not sure if it's the same Dan McDonald, but he was the guy who was the big brother of another friend of mine in high school, so it sort of makes sense. And Dan always has something in there too. Can you imagine? I've been working for the Enquirer for 8 years, and I've had an article in every single issue, you know? And it's like, wow, what a claim to fame. Oh man, I'll tell you, when they put this guy 6 feet under, what's the priest gonna say? Well, he was the editor for one of the most popular news in the United States, and I like the color photographs. And yeah, it's just that, you know, the Weekly World News is published by the same people.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. But they have black and white, and you know, they're the ones that are more like the Enquirer used to be before they started going upscale to the degree that you could sell them in a supermarket. Can you imagine? You know, like a boy eats other foot. You know, put those Twinkies back. I'm not buying that. You know, but now it's like, you know, all, you know, Carol Burnett, her hidden tragedy, and things like that. Like anybody cares about Carol Burnett anymore. And the fashion page, you know, the fashion page in the National Enquirer?
Yeah, I haven't kept up, but...
Would you be caught dead in this outfit? And they're always like ragging. But then they always get some old has-been star from the past who manages to look halfway decent, and they say, well, Ann Miller is looking smart in a stylish two-piece outfit. You know, Ann Miller was in Peyton Place, you know. And before that, she was in Magnificent Obsession, 1938. And you know, things like that. I realized that Doctor Strange, the comic book, it's based on the movie Magnificent Obsession, believe it or not, in which a selfish surgeon accidentally finds a woman and spends the rest of his life learning about how to give her back her sight. And that's basically the plot of Doctor Strange too. A selfish playboy is waylaid, and a selfish surgeon playboy can no longer operate, so he becomes master of the mystic arts. Force for good in the community, stuff like that. Marvel used to copy shamelessly from old movies and stuff like that. But tell me more.
Well, I don't know.
Well, what are you doing now? I mean,
not much. I just recently come to Boston from New Mexico, so it's a kind of post-apocalypse feeling I have at the moment. You know, it's very toxic down there.
The Road Warrior on 3 screens.
Yeah, stuff. It's but you know, they're nice people. They're very good-looking people down in New Mexico. You just don't want to investigate any further. Well, I did, but they wouldn't let me.
So what do you?
Effective prison system.
What do you call it when you throw a peeping Tom into an ocean with weights tied to his ankles?
Peeping Tom into the ocean, weights tied to his ankles.
A voyeur to the bottom of the sea.
Wow.
Yeah, you started out, you were rapping about voyeurism and stuff.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yes.
What do you get when you cross Beaujess and the herpes virus?
I don't know, pox on both your parties?
Close. What you get is a French foreign lesion.
That's great. How do the Japanese address their clap symptoms? Symptoms.
I'm so sorry.
Honorable discharge.
All right. What do you get when you cross Kurt Cobain and the French cheese?
I don't know.
What you get is a man who can't bear it anymore.
Yes, the French. Aren't they wonderful? Yeah. Well, did you hear about the? They're going to do We're going to do a show about France in May of 1968. It's going to be called The Situationist Comedy. So there you go. Yes, we're dredging the bottoms of our heads for still more clever things to say.
One more cross joke for you. What do you get when you, since you brought up this Oriental theme, what do you get when you cross a trip to the Orient and a dirty old man?
I don't know.
What you get is a flash in Japan.
Ooh. Hey, that's pretty good. Did you make that up, or?
I did, unfortunately, but I can only take partial credit for it.
I see. Well, Jonathan, we hope you come back.
Well, I certainly will.
Please, you have a fertile and inventive mind which verges on genius. Of course, I'm the only genius around here, so I have to say
we're
that.
close.
And,
I would be happy.
I was
but
impressed now. I generally hate traditional stand-up comedy. That was good.
it was good. Even Phil Berliner says it's good. Well, this wraps up
I was
Comedy on
very
the
tired,
Edge.
but I was listening.
Oh,
And
excellent.
the tape is running out, and so Jonathan, my name is Francis DiMenno. Hi, folks. Hi, Mom. Jonathan Eder, and we're going to come back next week with still more of this incredible stuff. So keep tuning in, and good night.
Good night.
That was impressive. Are you doing mainstream comedy clubs at all?
I'm actually going to maybe give it a try tomorrow.
Because they try some of the open mics or stuff. I mean, you're working within a joke punchline medium, so I think the opening must have a lot more interesting to say when people on vocals. I did the local comedy club scene from like summer '91 through fall '93. I was definitely my stuff's in around the
Yeah.
a lot of like metaphysical, meanings, so you go to wellness kind of like thing. Got interesting things to say, yet your content is very radical, but your